What is going on, X Community? Exo Stomp here, and today, people, we're going to be doing the minors division, of course, and joining me, as usual, by the way, this is week 6, joining me, as usual, is Galaxybomb.
Hello everyone, week 6 minors. Looking at the graph, we both did pretty well, and I'm somehow still in the lead for minors. That's nice.
Yeah, we got a few spot on. Like, I got the first one, you got, was it the
We
fifth
both
one?
won our locks.
Yeah, that too. So we got a lot of points this week.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I could still come back here. I could still come back.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some of the point gains in majors has been crazy, so it can definitely happen again in minors too.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Alright, let's go on to the first game real quick. So, we got the T1 Tyrannotars versus the San Francisco Salazzles. This one's going to be pretty interesting because Arvid, I mean, I think he only lost once. And the Salazzles lost twice, but they've been playing well. So I'm not exactly sure. And the Salazzles also did a trade. I've been saying this for quite a while, that the best one pointer is Ponyard, and he picked it up. Hey, he didn't have a steel type, and it fits. It's fine. It fits.
I mean, that's like using Clefairy as your fairy type. No one would do that.
Nah, that's not true. That's not true. But yeah, how do you feel about this matchup?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Arvid's got a better matchup here. I mean, we've seen the power of Regidrago in both majors and minors, and this is no exception. I don't think. It's gonna be pretty tough. I mean, Rabombi as your fairy type to block Regidrago is probably it's gonna be pretty tough. I mean, not the tankiest of mons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? Because, like,
And plus,
Regidrago.
Ponyard has the steel type too. It's like,
Yeah. It's really interesting because it's stuff like hazards go up, like rocks. Rabombi pretty much has to run heavy duty boots, but then it can't really run sash, so if it gets hit like twice, it's dead. And it's kind of interesting because Regidrago usually just presses one button, and when the fairy type is a Rabombi, it makes it a lot easier to press one button. So,
not to mention, Lidsdale is absolutely coming against Salazzle, so Stealth Rocks are almost always coming on Arvid's side. So
yeah. There's only like one thing that could be the saving grace, and that's definitely the defensive pressure that Salazzles have, which is you toxic something with Salazzle, you protect, you go into Gligar, because Gligar Salazzle is actually pretty nice, because of course with that ground immunity Gligar has and everything like that, it definitely helps out Salazzle. And Inteleon can set up like Light Screen Reflect, which would help. The Virizion can do a little bit of work here because their fire type is weak to fighting, which is really nice for Virizion, especially if it's like a special set. Focus Blast is going to be doing a ton, and so like there's a few things that Salazzles can do. They definitely have a chance to win against Arvid, but we'll just really have to see here.
Yeah, I think the Salazzles have to do something a little bit peculiar, a little bit non-standard to get ahead, but they definitely have the potential. But I think I'm gonna play the safe bet and give a 3-0 to Arvid's team, T1 Tyrannotars.
Okay. Alright. So, this is kind of hard because it could really go either way depending on what Pokemon they bring and how they play this match. Because like technically Regice can live a hit and can threaten out the Regidrago. There's a few things that can happen, but I kind of want to go with T1 T-Tars as well.
Sure.
I'm gonna give them a I give him a 2-0 here.
Okay.
Alright. And moving on here to the next match, we have the Florida Phalanx versus the Berlin Blossoms. So one thing to note here is the speed. Like
Yeah.
the first 5 Pokemon on the Phalanx team literally outspeeds their whole team. So kind of an issue. Plus the fact that like not even the speed, but their top tier Pokemon also pretty much beat all of their Pokemon. Like Aerodactyl has a good matchup. Togedemaru technically has a good matchup. Galarian Articuno has a pretty good matchup. It's kind of one-sided in my opinion, but do you see any way that Blossoms can sort of threaten it?
Maybe, but I'm not super confident in the Blossoms team. They are 0-5 right now. So I don't know. I feel like when it's this one-sided, it's a little hard to bet in their favor.
Right.
I mean, maybe they could do something with Rodriguez's ability to gimp something on. I don't know.
Trick Room is still a possibility, but
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to set up Trick Room because the thing is, I think Aerodactyl has Taunt. I'm pretty sure like Drapion has Taunt. There's definitely a few like taunt users, and when something can taunt you pretty freely, you can't set up Trick Room, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I think there, like Trick Room has to happen for there to be any chance.
Oh, also, I'm just looking at it. Poltegeist, since Krokorok is their Dark type, Poltegeist can Giga Drain that, kill that. So, and then everything else dies to like stab plus stored power. It's kind of scary.
But you're gonna bring Porygon to take a Poltergeist hit.
I think that's literally what they have to do.
Ugh.
It's just not very good. I mean,
I don't know how I could. You know what? I'm gonna give the Blossoms like a 2-0 here.
Oh,
I'm gonna
shoot.
give them faith. This is gonna be their first win. They're gonna pull it out. All odds. You guys got this.
I think you're insane. I'm gonna give it to the Phalanx here, man. I'm gonna give them a 4-0, and should I lock on this? That's the real question.
That's just mean.
What do you mean? They have a nice matchup.
Alright, Blossoms, you gotta bait out the Trick Room, then run max speed Hatterene. It'll totally work. Trust me.
You know what? Yeah, I'm locking on this one.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck, guys. Oh god. Let's see. The next match is the Detroit Delibirds versus the London Luxrays. So this is kind of interesting. The Detroit Delibirds are pretty new to the league, and the London Luxrays, they've definitely been showing off what they can do with their team, and I think they've been doing pretty well, if I remember correctly.
They're at 4-1. Their differential's pretty low at 6, so their games have been pretty close. But they've won 4 of their games, so definitely nothing to scoff at.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one's gonna be interesting. I mean, the Delibirds, of course, have Powerhouse of Snorlax on their side. As for the Luxray's fighting type, I do feel like Chestnut is a pretty good answer to Snorlax. Of course, not the best or anything like that, but I feel like it could get the job done pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It also really hurts Seismitoad here because it's a very strong grass type against a water ground. It's a decent tank against Rotoms, Volt Switches. You know, it kind of does a decent amount. So.
Yeah. And the thing is, you have to bring your fighting type against a team with Snorlax, because if you don't, what is killing a Snorlax?
Yeah. But, overall, I don't think it's that bad that they have to bring Chestnut to this match.
Yeah, Chestnut's pretty decent here. It sort of makes sense to come, and I think another. Well, no, I guess it's not really an issue. I was gonna say Alolan Marowak is slow, which kind of weakens it against stuff like the Seismitoad. But I mean, look at the top side of Bird's team. They have a lot of things that threaten out this Marowak. So it sort of just depends on what actually comes on the Luxray team, because we look, if Chestnut does not come, I don't know how the Luxrays win. However, I think it has to come, because like it fits so well here that it doesn't make sense not to.
Yeah, and I do think the faster mons like Floatzel is a nice augment to Chestnut, of course, being the water counterpart to the grass. So I feel like there's some natural inclusion. Plus the pivot on Slowking side, like if they bring Slowking and Lone Marowak, that might be a really nice pivot to get some stuff done as well. I think I have more confidence in Luxray's team here.
Okay.
I think I'll give them a 1-0. I think it's gonna be close.
All right, that's fair. I'm gonna go different. I'm gonna give it to the Delibirds, and I'm going to give them a. I'll give them a 3-0.
Okay.
I mean, like, I'm not 100% confident in them yet, but I definitely think that as long as they play around that Chestnut correctly, they shouldn't have too much of a problem. So yeah.
I will just as a final note, they do not have a fire type, which does make that a bit harder.
Which team?
Delibirds do not have a fire type.
I mean,
They have
Oricorio, yeah.
It has one fire move. So...
Yeah, but flying is also good against Chestnut as well, like 4 times, which is nice. Honchkrow is there as well. So, there's some options here, but I definitely know what you mean. I think Chestnut's kind of annoying to get rid of. If it gets Will-O-Wisp, however, it's really easy to take advantage of. So
that's true.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. Let's move on here to the next match, which is Thor. Well, okay, both the Thunder's teams.
Oh, who's okay? This is what's gonna determine who could keep the name clearly.
Yes.
You should totally make a bet on that. But this is going to be pretty interesting. We now have a Cinccino in both majors and minors after a little bit. That's actually really funny. I just realized that. We started off with none, and now we have him in both leagues. So I'm interested to see if they might bring it on this one. It might not be the best overall choice to this matchup, though. I don't see it doing too much. I mean, it hits Altaria with a triple axle pretty strong.
Rock Blast just sort of looks free.
Rock Blast is quite good. You are right about that. Though Escav could tank. Well, it's neutral, so I guess.
I mean, honestly, I do agree though. Escav, like I said before, at least in majors, steel types are its bane. But I guess considering it is a half bug, but it's so defensive, it could take it pretty easily if it's like.
Is Rock Blast contact?
No, it's not contact.
Okay, because I was gonna say a Rocky Helmet might shred it, but
no, I think Bullet Seed is for some reason.
It really? What?
Yeah, yeah, and then Tail Slap is, yeah. There's a lot of moves that Cinccino does have are contact, but I don't think that one is one of them.
Okay.
How do you feel about the Swallow in this matchup? I really like it here.
Oh, a Gut Swallow could do a lot, actually. Or not Guts. Did I say Guts? It is Guts, right?
You could either use Guts or Specs with Boom Burst.
I kind of do like Guts here, though, because Thundurus does have some annoying status options. I mean, of course, Thunder Waves could come out, Burns could come out. It could definitely hurt Swallow's chances to really do stuff. So I feel like it's not a terrible idea to run Gut Swallow.
The only problem with that is that Thundurus do have a lot of defensive Pokemon. Like Girder's pretty defensive. Druddigon with like Rough Skin is super annoying for it. Sandslash can
Rough Skin Rocky Helmet could. If you Brave Bird a Druddigon that has Rough Skin Rocky Helmet, you just kill yourself.
Basically.
So.
I like Specs here because it outspeeds everything unless like something is Scarf like Cinccino, and since it has, I mean, Litwick isn't really a factor here, but technically it can hit that too. But But I think special is a lot better in this matchup, all things considered, because a lot of the Thunderous Mons are defensive, except for like Aromatisse and Uxie can be both. But yeah, I definitely think that Spec Swallow is kind of annoying.
Right. Yeah, I think I feel like Chinchino could do a lot here. Like it definitely has to be a little careful, but I think the defensive options on Thunderous team I like more than the Thundies personally. So I think I'm gonna give it to Thunderous as a 2-0.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm gonna give it to the Thundies.
Okay.
Uh,
Hope everyone was able to follow along with who we were voting for.
the real reason is that I kind of like Pangoro here. It has the coverage to hit stuff like Aromatisse, and then everything else doesn't like to get hit by like a dark or a fighting move. Or
yeah, knockoff does do quite a lot. That is true.
Yeah, so I sort of like the Thundies matchup a little better. So yeah, I'm gonna give them. Ooh, how far do I want to go? I'm gonna give them a 4-0. All right, moving on to the next match here. We have it's you versus Oops All Whoopers.
Okay, so yeah, you can go for it.
Okay, so looking at this matchup, I kind of like your matchup a little bit better. Reason being is that the Whoopers only have, unless I'm missing it, they only have one hazard setter, and that's Crustle. So you don't.
And they only have one removal as well. I should mention that they only have a rapid spin on Hitmontop.
That's not very good. Although I'm pretty sure they've been doing decent, right?
I think they've been doing okay.
Yeah.
Let me check their stats since I have it up. Oops All Whoopers is currently 3-2 with a -1.
Okay. All right.
So it's not terrible. About middle of the board.
All right. So yeah, if you beat them, you're gonna like basically take their spot, which is pretty good. But I think what's scary is the Chandelure kind of just likes to click Shadow Ball or Fire Blast because you have two grass types. You don't have many things to switch into a fire or a ghost move. The only thing I could really see is maybe like a Spadef Crobat, or like I'm not exactly sure. Maybe like a Spadef Quagsire, but then it could have Energy Ball. It's kind of annoying to switch into Chandelure, quite honestly.
Sure, yeah, that is fair.
Another thing is Galarian Slowking, kind of annoying as well, because you don't really want to go into your Quagsire on Slowking, because if it's some kind of setup mon, like Nasty Plot, Trick Room, or something crazy like that, you don't do too much if it's like defensive with setup. So I don't know. I think maybe I like their matchup better. I'm not sure right now.
That's fair. That's fair.
How do you feel about this?
I have some ideas. I feel like I'm gonna have to play a little unorthodox, but I definitely think I can break through. I feel like I played pretty poorly in the first couple weeks. I wasn't really used to how these mons really work. I feel like I'm getting a lot more comfortable with them now. I'm understanding how I need to play to use them. So I think that's doing pretty good. But
you know what? You didn't say it this time.
What? Huh?
This may be the week.
Look, I might be a little scared of Shift Gear Clink Clank. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want to say anything because I don't want them to bring me.
I see you. Dude, the Shift Gear Clink Clank, come man, you don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I can't prep for it.
Why not?
I'll look like an idiot if I prep for a Shift Gear Clink Clank, but then that's gonna be the way that I bring it, and they're gonna sweep my team with it.
That's what's gonna happen.
Because I mean, what do I do against that?
Uh,
What do I do against Gear Grind? Just spam.
I mean, defensive Colossal with Flame Body could be annoying for it. You have a freaking Quagsire. What are you saying?
Look, man.
You have a freaking Quagsire.
Don't worry about it. It's totally not reverse psychology or anything.
I see. Okay. Yeah, definitely bring Clink Clink. No, but um, other than that, I think Umbreon, the combination of Umbreon plus P2 is kind of annoying for you. But you definitely have you have a few answers for it. Like the Duraludon Body Press is kind of nice here. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I know you built, but I don't know what you built yet, so
Sure.
I'm just making random stuff up. But yeah, I'm not. I want to give it to you, so because I want you to make playoffs. But two, I think you have the potential to definitely win this match, depending on what you bring. So I'm gonna give you a. It's gonna be close. I'm gonna give you a 3-0. I think it's gonna be middle of the road.
Okay. Yeah, I won't say too much more about what I have in store because I don't want to spoil anyone. But I feel pretty good. I'm gonna give myself a 4-0.
4-0. I like it. All right. All right. Moving on to the next game, we have the Houston Toros versus the Breaking Zolts. So this one's quite interesting because these are two of the more scarier teams. However, it's kind of hard to beat the Houston Toros team, and I'm pretty sure. I think you versed them I think you versed them next week because you haven't.
Yeah, I have not versed Toros, and I might be slightly terrified.
Yeah, because their team is both offensively scary and defensively scary. I don't see many ways to break through stuff like this defensive core with Swampert, Moltres. But looking at the Zolt side, I definitely like the Kloitzer. I think Kloitzer can definitely spam Water Pulse pretty effectively. I'm not sure. I mean, even if Go-Goat comes, it has Ice Beam. It has
Yeah, I mean, even Swampert does not like tanking a spec Water Pulse to the face.
Yeah, Kloitzer is surprisingly hits super hard and is pretty tanky. So,
Yeah, I do think now that I don't have to fight them anymore, I can say this now. I do think they should be utilizing Klotzer a lot more and just absolutely. I spent so long trying to figure out, and you know this, how to beat Klotzer. And luckily, I didn't have to fight it in my match. Because that thing's scary. The thing is so powerful, and somehow just even when it's not defensive, it lives everything. So it can just hit a button and you die no matter what. It's so ridiculous how strong that thing is.
yeah, it almost has the Marowak effect where it always lives somehow. I don't know how, but it always lives a damn hit.
And I do feel like the typing is better than Marowak. I feel like water is a much safer typing for something like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Plus, it has a pretty good amount of coverage.
Oh,
I didn't
dude.
realize how much coverage that thing has.
It has like every move in the freaking game, basically. It's so annoying.
It's really strong, and if you hacks with a Water Pulse Confusion or something, then you just win the game. But in case they don't die from it.
Yeah. Another thing I do want to mention is stuff like Guts Heracross is really nice because you don't have to worry about Flame Body Moltres. It has the coverage like Stonehenge. It has Facade to hit the Swampert. It has a lot of coverage there. And Cryogonal is pretty okay because it does have the Freeze Drive for like the Swampert and the Tentacle and stuff. Like it has. I definitely see that the Zolts definitely have a chance, especially because if you can weaken that Swampert, Minior can definitely sweep here.
Absolutely.
And let's see, the Toro side, I kind of like Electros's matchup because it has enough coverage to hit everything pretty effectively and also be a really good pivot for this team.
Because... Yeah, the fact that it's not weak to anything definitely helps.
Yeah.
Makes things a bit harder. I mean, it's a really nice answer to Doug Trio, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention it makes bringing Earthquake along just that much harder, or as a coverage move. I I feel like they don't need to bring Clefairy this time because Results don't have a dragon.
They could bring it
I
every
mean,
time.
they've brought it 5 of the games, which is all of them. So
He's bringing it to all of them because you said it wasn't a good mon.
I get that. I understand. It's not going to convince me. It just means that you can press, like, I don't know. It just means that you're good at Little Cup, I guess.
Hey man, it's not a little cup mon. That's clever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of like both of their matchups. I'm sort of in favor of Cross's team only because Cross has to play more relaxed than Not Shady Kid, because he basically has to predict half the time with stuff like Heracross and even like Clawitzer, whereas Cross can just sort of switch pretty freely into his tanky mons and pivot very freely. So yeah,
That's fair. I think I will give it to the Breaking Results, though. I think they can bring a very potent matchup with having Minior in their back pocket to late game sweep, of course. Miltank's pretty nice wall in the beginning. Heracross and Clawitzer can very easily punch through holes in the early game. So I think if they play their cards right, they will be fine. I will give them a 3-0 here.
all right. I'm gonna give it to the Houston Toros mainly because what I just said with pretty easy pivots. They don't have to do too many 50-50s here. They kind of can play more relaxed. I'm going to give the Houston Toros a... Ooh, how far do I want to go up? I'm gonna... You know what, Cross? I believe in you. I'm gonna give you a 5-0.
Okay.
Alright, moving on to the next match here, we got the Charlotte Beedrills versus the Little Rock Lycanrocs. So, the Little Rock Lycanrocs, they took over, I believe it was the Houston Hardscales, which unfortunately, they... Well, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but they had to, quote-unquote, leave the league, so they can't play. But they did make a lot of really nice changes. I really like the changes that they made for this team. I think this makes it one of the better teams, because like before it looked like a rain team. Now it looks like a sort of all around just balanced team, and I really like how it looks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they dropped everything except for Noivern and Klefki, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, definitely completely changed the dynamic. I have no clue how Steven plays. He is a newcomer, I believe.
Yep.
So I am interested in seeing, though, the fact that he was confident enough to just completely swap the team around with just leftover picks in the league makes me think he might not know what he's doing. So I think Claydol Lantern is a great combo pivot. Like, I love both of those Pokemon, and I think that alongside Primeape as well as like a defog tank with Defiant, really could work out here. Not to mention, I mean, you know how much I love Absol. Great mon. Selgor's a really nice lead Pokemon. Ludicolo, I mean, they still do have a little bit of rain like combo potential, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like overall this team is very solid. I actually like it a lot. Not to mention Pepsi's still just a nuisance to society, but yeah, I mean, you know how much I love the Beedrills team. I mean, ever since I fought them and got absolutely destroyed, I realized how powerful their mons are.
Yeah.
So this is really hard because I have faith in the Beedrills, but I also really like what they did to this team.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to know who's gonna come out on top on this one, because number one, we don't know too much about Steven, but number two, both the teams are kind of even in power. Like I think the speed is nice on Steven's team, but I don't know if that necessarily would come into effect with stuff like Ice Shard Sneasel just hitting the Noivern pretty freely, and a Selgor usually, I mean, it's fast, but what is it gonna do to, I don't know, Registeel's gonna Focus Blast and do like 30%, like max?
Well, Final Gambit might do something. Who knows? But yeah, I do think that Gore's power is a lot weaker in draft compared to just playing on ladder, because people know what to expect and they can very easily play around it instead of just kind of bringing it as a surprise, and it's not really something you can prep for. I feel like just overall suicide leads are definitely weaker in drafts, especially because differential is so important. So I don't know if Gore's coming here, but that would be interesting to say the least. Also, what makes this a little irritating for the Lycanrocs is that your ground type is Claydol, which is not offensive, and your fire type is Rapidash, which is okay, but it's going to be really hard to break your Registeel and Palisand here.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna have to get a little creative here with it. I mean, Primeape is here. Primeape, like, maybe a close combat, like Choice Banded, something. Maybe it could do, like, something, but if it's an Iron Defense...
Palisand just switches in and tanks that.
Yeah.
Like, Primeape does not have a lot of coverage, which makes that combo of Registeel Palisand just all the more powerful.
Yeah.
So I see that, and I'm like, in order for you to win against the Beedrills, you have to break that combo, because it is just impenetrable otherwise.
Which is really freaking hard to do.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I think the Lycanroc team is a bit too weak to that defensive combination, so I think I have to give it to the Beedrills here.
Okay.
I will give them a trio, and I'm going to lock on the Beedrills.
Alright. I'm also gonna give it to the Beedrills. I was looking at their Mons matchup. I really like Gardevoir's matchup here, and like you said, Registeel, Palisand. Really like their matchups here in general, even though stuff like, I mean, they have, what, 2 waters and 2 grasses technically with the Ludicolo, so even with that though, I mean...
I will be pleasantly surprised if Lycanrocs win this, because that means that they can win over a match that's not really in their favor, and that definitely gives them testament as a player. So
yeah,
I will be very happily surprised if they are able to win this, and I am rooting for them, but I do believe that Beedrills has the advantage here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I'll give it to the Beedrills. I'll give them a 2-0 here.
Okay.
Alright, let's move on to the last match for minors for this week, and that is going to be the Thornham Fractures versus Haunch Crow Mafia. Alright, so where do we begin? Speed, Espeon, and Sceptile definitely faster than everything, but both of these teams have been doing pretty good. Both I think are like the top. Honestly,
they're both 3-2, but Fractures has a 3 differential, and Mafia has an 11 differential because Scrafty exists.
Yeah, Scrafty exists. Slurpuff, it means like Slurpuff sort of has to come here.
Mafia has a I mean, the Fractures have Slurpuff. Jellicent might be okay. Though with a Culver Berry, the knockoff is gonna not do too much.
Roserade does have stuff like Dazzling Gleam, and so does Indeedee, so it's not like
yeah.
the worst.
There definitely are answers, especially if like an Unburdened Slurpuff can outspeed it, so that might help out. I could see Roserade running a Scarf maybe.
Blaziken, close combat, it's gonna hurt.
That's also true. So they definitely have answers to it. Lifeheart, of course, with Prankster could cripple it with a Thunder Wave or something. Right? It learns Thunder Wave, right? Am I mistaken?
Which one?
That? Lifeheart?
Lifeheart? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that could definitely help cripple it significantly. So there are definitely answers here. So I don't think the Mafia can just play close combat and win the game, or drain punch and win the game with Scrafty this time around. But that's not to mention that Mafia also has some really solid mons. I mean, you would know power of Magminar firsthand.
And Wheezing and Sceptile.
Yeah. I mean, he got a lot of your mons. Interestingly, even though the Mafia has such a crazy differential, they haven't brought 3 mons yet. They haven't brought Electivire, they haven't brought Sceptile, and they haven't brought Espeon in a single game.
That's weird.
So they're very confident with their core of 7 mons that they've been using, plus the fact that they also don't have 2 extra mons. Like, they've been very consistent with this one team with maybe a change up here or there, just a single mon. But it's been working for them. I mean, they're very positive in differential. So, hey, whatever works, I guess.
Yeah. If we do happen to see something out of the 3 that didn't come, I would probably say Espeon, because Espeon sort of spams Psychic, and then if Life Part comes, I'm pretty sure it has like Dazzling Gleam and stuff like that. Like, Psychic is so nice, especially if Rabbit brings Indeedee to set up that Psychic terrain for the Espeon.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, Psychic hits Rose Raid, Psychic hits Blaziken, it hits...
And it just hits neutrally everything pretty hard.
Actually, everything else. Not to mention you've got some decent coverage on Espeon side. It makes Indeedee much riskier to bring too, so that is good to keep in mind.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny how the division, which is your division, there's a 6-way tie in win-loss.
Yeah, everyone's 3-2.
So it literally means that your division, like, the last 2-3 games are gonna matter. Like, you need to play well in the last.
Absolutely. Which is why I do favor the Mafia a bit more. I feel like they play for the differential very confidently. So I think they're going to be able to pull this one off. I think the fact that they haven't brought 3 of their mons is pretty nice, because we don't know how they play with them. We don't know what they're going to run with it. So, I mean, who knows? Sceptile could run a Seed and expecting Indeedee so that it can unburden and kill. Like, who knows? And then just have, like, either a... they've got Wheezing, so they've got the terrain set up. If they really need that. So, I mean, there's a lot of options here.
Yeah.
I to the Mafia for sure, and I think I'm actually going to... I think this is going to be my 6-0 for the week.
Wow. Alright. Well, so you gave it to the Mafia. You know what? Oh man, we didn't even talk about Braviary. Braviary just spams Brave Bird here. Like, what the hell switches in? Holy crap.
Like Mafia's got a lot of options.
I really hope Rabbit wins this one, because I really hope he wins it with memes, because I really like to watch the memes. But I sort of have to give it to the Mafia, just because their matchup is better in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm not as confident as you, but I'm gonna give them a I'll give them a 3-0. I'm not 100% on this one.
Fair enough.
Alright, and that is all the minor games for this week. This will be going up the same time that the majors are going up, so if you haven't watched the majors, of course, check that out. If you enjoyed, of course, please leave a like. And yeah, do you want to end us out here?
Good luck on your games, folks. Make those differentials count, because it could literally be a 1-mon difference between you making the playoffs and not. So now's the time to really get those games going.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Alright, guys. See you guys next time. Peace.